Hey VC, cheers. Welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Survivor. This is where we take 5 albums from the inbox down below, clean them up, give them a listen, and talk about what I thought of them. So let's go ahead and get into it. First thing we have here is a live album from Bob Marley. Actually, the last live concert he ever did in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on September 23rd, 1980, from the Stanley Theater. He was already very ill at the time of recording this, and they weren't even sure that the concert was going to happen. But in the end, being the performer he actually went on ahead and did the concert. It would actually end up being his last concert, and luckily enough, it was recorded. It was not a real high quality recording. It's a soundboard recording for the most part, with the exception of the last track, which we'll get into. But you know, it wasn't a great high quality recording. They were just recording it just to sort of archive it, I would imagine, for his use to be able to listen back to it and whatnot, and the band's use, I would imagine. But this is a beautiful, beautiful bound package. I actually purchased on I purchased this on Pop Market. If you don't know, it's sort of a website that sells. They sell music, and they have sort of one deal a day that's really supposed to be a special deal. And this was one of their deals one day back in December or January sometime. I jumped on this. I think it was around $40 that they were asking for this. A little bit less, maybe $38. But just a beautiful, beautiful packaging. I think all albums should be packaged this way. Really heavy book binding sort of style here. Beautiful, beautiful. So you open it up here, and all the records are in these sleeves that are just like pages in a book. Awesome, awesome. It's a 3 LP set, and you also get 2 CDs of the concert. So beautiful, beautiful how they did that. And then I know I'm saying beautiful a lot. They also did a facsimile of the program from the concert. So this is the actual concert program from 1980. So you get, you know, pictures and information about the band and such as that. So that was a cool piece of history here. And here is the back where it shows all the tracks. This, you know, this is when it was sealed in the shrink wrap. This was sort of underneath that, sort of explaining what was here. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the recording. As I said, this is a for the most part, with the exception of the last song, was a soundboard recording on maybe a half-inch tape or something. You know, not real high quality. As I said, I think the main intention was for the band themselves to have a recording of it. But the tape was a 90-minute tape, and it ran out right at the beginning of the last song, which is "Get Up, Stand Up," and it's you know, it was the last song they did. You know, they really went over the top, and it's an amazing version of the song. Basically, the last thing he ever performed live. That had been lost to the ages. And it was discovered in 2000. They discovered that there was actually an audience recording that had the last song, and so that has been added on to the end of here. "Get Up, Stand Up" is the last song. They were able to add it in here, so now it's the complete concert. The audience recording is obviously not as good quality as the soundboard recording, but it's still an amazing performance, considering that Bob was really ill at the time. Like I said, they weren't even sure whether the concert was going to happen or not. So I really thoroughly enjoyed having this. I don't really have any Bob Marley on vinyl. I have a copy of Legend that doesn't even have a cover. it's just the record itself. So yeah, it was a really fun listen to hear this. You can tell he's not feeling good at times. You know, at some portions of the show, he just doesn't have a lot of energy, but nonetheless a really cool package, and something I'm definitely glad to have in my collection. Alright, so moving on, we still have actually another live album here, but something completely different. This is Flatt and Scruggs at Carnegie Hall, 1963. if you're not familiar with Flattened Scruggs, they're a bluegrass band. This is a live performance from Carnegie Hall, and this is on a mono 2i Columbia. Sounds really, really good. I was quite impressed at how good this recording was. There is an annoying part. There's somebody in the audience that keeps asking for a particular song that you hear him in between every track on the first side until they actually play the song he keeps requesting. So that was annoying. I hate when people at live concerts yell out songs they want to hear. I mean, it's up to the band what they want to play. You don't request songs. You know, they're not a jukebox. But really cool recording nonetheless. Really interesting piece. Really enjoyable. If you like bluegrass like I do, this is a really neat piece. And I picked this up at a hardware store that used to sell records here. Now it's since closed, but it was $1 pickup on this. Really cool. Okay, next up, now we're moving back into the 80s and something totally different again. This is Wham's second album, Make It Big, 1984. Of course, this has Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Freedom, and Careless Whisper on it. Some big tracks for the 80s, and another photo and the inner sleeve here. And this is another one that's on Columbia, but it's of course the 80s orange and red label. So yeah, Wham's Make It Big, classic 80s pop album. Definitely going in my collection. If you know me, anything like this 80s pop that was really big is going to be going in my collection. Definitely collect this kind of thing, and this is a beautiful copy of the album, and I'm glad to have this in the collection. I think I got this at Goodwill. I'm not 100% certain where this came from. You know, it's one of those albums that's easy to find, and you know, there's no reason to pay big money for this. It's cheap dollar bin kind of thing. And if you're into the 80s, you'll probably want to have that. Okay, so next up we got some sort of 80s Miami bass sort of type of hip hop here. This is MCADE and the Posse, Just Something to Do. This is just, yes, some early Miami bass type music. Something I was very much into living here in Florida. You know, it's probably the most popular of the Miami bass groups were the Two Live Crew. You have things like DJ Magic Mike, which sort of fits in with that, and the Puppies, and some other groups. But yeah, this was a really fun listen to. Very sort of electro-heavy beats. Really cool, just sort of party atmosphere style hip hop. You know, not real heavy on lyrics. There's actually several instrumental tracks on here. And, yeah, this car on the cover here is it's kind of funny. This is if you look real close, look at this door here and the roof line right here. That is actually a 1980s Ford Cougar, I believe, Mercury Cougar. This was a Classic Motor Carriages, is sort of like a kit car company. They would take a new car and put these bodies on it to make it look like something fancy from the 30s or whatever. And yeah, they ended up getting caught up in the drug trafficking trade in the 80s in Florida, and eventually went out of business. So that was a big thing. A very sort of different time for Florida. A very wild time in the 80s. But yeah, just a cool piece of Miami bass history, and I definitely enjoyed it. I've had this for a long time now. I bought it at a local record store that's no longer around. I think it was Babalu's. So that's going in the collection. And last but not least, we have another piece of Florida history. This is a recording of the sounds of Sebring, 1956 Grand Prix of Endurance. Sebring is a 12-hour auto race, sports car auto race, still goes on to this day. It's held in Sebring, Florida, which is sort of southern central Florida, getting down near Lake Okeechobee. Sebring is an airport that they would use for racing. Still is a functioning airport to somewhat degree, but mostly it's a racetrack now. This is just a recording. Lots of the whole first side is interviews with the drivers and teams and whatnot. Really interesting sort of look at the early days of sports car racing. Really interesting hearing people talk about different things about the cars themselves and the different drivers, and a lot of really famous drivers interviewed on here. There's an actual map of what the course used to be like. It's changed from time to time over the years, but it's basically the same. It's a little over 3 miles, 3.5 mile course, and yeah, this was a really fun listen. This was a library sale find for 50 cents. I have another one of these from 59, I think 58, somewhere around there. But yeah, I'll definitely buy these every time I see them. Really cool historical artifacts, and really fun to listen to. I thought about maybe uploading this to YouTube at some point, just the audio from this, just so people can hear it. Really cool historical piece, definitely going in the collection. So I want to thank you for watching another episode of the Vinyl Survivor. That was the 4th one I've recorded today, so I think I'm going to hang it up for now. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you again real soon with another episode. Cheers.